Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. A busy docket for Hopkins County 8th Judicial District Court Wednesday resulted in several plea bargain agreements. Among those sentenced to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, Derek Lane Carroll, age 20, of Sulphur Springs, received 7 years for manufacture and delivery of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, more than 1 gram, less than 4 grams. Paris Gallimore received 6 years for burglary of a habitation. Valerie Hicks received 6 years for manufacture delivery of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, more than 1 gram, less than 4 grams. And Asarius Gano received 2 years for possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram in a drug-free zone. Flight for Life and Christus Mother Francis Health System introduced the local community to the addition of a fixed-wing Pilatus PC-12 critical care aircraft that has been placed in service recently. 56 care flights have already been carried out since the plane was introduced. Paul Harvey, CEO of Christus Mother Francis Sulphur Springs, introduced the flight crew and representatives for Flights of Life.
So just a little background on Flight for Life. They provide helicopter transportation for patients needing critical care service within a 100-mile radius of their Palestine, Longview, Wills Point. And this says Winsboro, but I think they're in actually Mount Pleasant now. But just a note on that, since we became Christus Hospital here, they have transported just via helicopter 55 of our critical care patients out either to Tyler or to Dallas, depending on their needs, and that just happened since July. Their team includes pilots, flight nurses, and flight paramedics, and they average approximately 1,200 to 1,400 transports each year. When requested, Flight for Life allows, they also assist medical aircraft programs in Dallas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and other nearby areas. Flight for Life fixed-wing transportation includes a primary service area over a 350-mile radius from Tyler and with a range up to 1,800 miles. Aviation services are provided and operated by Air Methods Corporation of Englewood, Colorado. And since they have been in operation, they have handled about 55 flights just in the aircraft that you see out here. They've been in operation since really late December. And they have covered points from Tulsa, Little Rock, all the way down to Galveston, where some of the services they provide on behalf of trauma patients, burn patients, patients that either had rejected transplant type services or they needed to get transplant type services. So just a cadre of services that these wonderful people provide. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jim Spire. He's the Director of Marketing for Flight for Life based out of Tulsa. And Jim's going to give you all the technical details and introduce some of his team. Jim, welcome to Sulphur Springs. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. I'm based out of Tyler. Thanks for being here today. It's our pleasure and honor to be here and show off our new tool that we have to extend the healing ministry of Jesus Christ throughout our area and country. Like he stated a minute ago, our longest flight that we've had to date has been from Tulsa to Galveston, Texas, and that was with a burn patient that had to go to Shriners Burn Institute down there. Our team of pilots, nurses, and paramedics are outstanding at what they do, truly bringing critical care transport to the patient and making those patients better cared for in flight. The aircraft that you see here primarily, pretty much 100%, does interfacility transports from hospital to hospital. Unfortunately, we can't put this on a 40 by 40 helipad, so we meet here at the airport, go to the patient, bring the patient back here, and then reverse that on the other end. We traditionally take care of all types of patients. The only patient that we don't really treat are the neonatal patients that require an isolate. Other than that, we run the gamut on the age of patients that we will transport. This aircraft, like I said, 1,800-mile range. We do 311 miles an hour in this aircraft. The flight from Tyler to here was 16 minutes. So the time savings over distance is what's great for us. It does allow us to carry a family member with us to accompany that patient wherever they go. We carry all necessary equipment to treat those patients. If I may take 1 second to introduce our crews today. Newt Farrar is our pilot. Justin Walker, he is the Flight for Life 5 base manager as well as a flight nurse. Misty Barron is another one of our nurses today. And Dr. Terry Hoffman is our medical director, who came to us about 4 weeks ago. So she's new on board. We're excited to have her with us. She came from Utah and is now, she does a dual role. She's an intensivist at Christus Trinity Mother Frances Tyler, and then half of her time is spent with us at Flight for Life, doing our medical direction work. Without that, I'll kind of open the floor up to any questions you may have. Okay.
So you can fly in all kinds of weather compared to helicopters?
Yeah, we still are limited, but we are better adapt to flying in local weather that's below minimums for the helicopters. And a lot of that weather is based on the airport at the time that we're going into. Newt, can you kind of elaborate on that for me a little bit?
You know, getting into aircraft or getting into airports depends on the local facilities available at those airports more than anything else. And then departing from those airports is generally no problem. Other airports have approaches that will allow us to come into worse weather than particular ones. This is a very capable airport. It's got great approaches. Yeah, so one of the best airports in East Texas, honestly.
In the list or in the stack of papers that you have regarding this, there's a membership application. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes. Just for grins, if you ever get a helicopter or a flight bill, I advise you to sit down when you go to open the bill. The average cost of flight today, just across the nation, is somewhere between $35,000 and $50,000. Crazy price, but that's reality today, unfortunately. Membership program here that I have out for you is a Air Methods program, which Air Methods is our partner in this. And what it does is it covers you as a no out-of-pocket expense. So if your insurance pays $30,000, then the rest of the bill is a $0. The current price structure on this one is $40 for an individual a year or $75 for a family. That covers anybody under the age of 26 living in your household that you're responsible for. I will tell you that if you are a Medicare patient with a supplement, that most likely you don't need the coverage, because those two insurances will cover most if not all of your bill. So I have the program myself. I advise you that if God hopes you never need us, but if you've got that, you've got super peace of mind. I don't like to, but I have to go down and turn my crews every couple of hours to keep them from getting decubitus ulcers sometimes. But you know, we have to have business to stay in business, and this membership program will protect you from that.
Hopkins County EMS, which is owned by the Hopkins County Memorial Hospital District, presented a proposal to its governing board earlier this week to accept another ambulance. The proposal paves the way for local EMS to house, maintain, and operate one of the 13 state of Texas AMBUS vehicles.
A bus? So we got a bus and a plane.
Yeah. So we're in the final stages of working out the process of getting an AMBUS in our region. Here, hosted locally by our local EMS agency at Hopkins County. It's a state asset. It's $750,000 is the price when you put all the equipment on it. It'll definitely help protect our area and our citizens during disaster response, and it has the ability to carry 20 patients. So it's very high-tech, has a lot of the same equipment the ambulances have on it. It's not your average, when you think of a bus, it's not Greyhound or a school bus. It's pretty detailed as far as the equipment and capabilities. So hope to secure that and have that here soon.
You might mention how many there are in the state of Texas.
Oh, there is only 13 in the state of Texas. Part of that's due to price tag, but the state has funded these buses, and they're strategically located throughout the state. There's only currently one in the East Texas region. It's pretty far south in the Palestine area, and then there's 4 in the Metroplex area. So our typical regional response area would be within the 28 to 32 counties in the East Texas area, and we could even go towards the Dallas area to complement the ambuses. 2 of the ambuses for the state were activated last night due to a hospital evacuation in Frisco. So there are other things the bus would do, not necessarily here locally, but in a regional response or a state deployment in the effect of a hurricane. Having the ability to carry 20 patients eliminates the use of 5 ambulances. So it's a great asset to have in our community. Look forward to solidifying all of it.
Is that another asset that's being added, or?
So the state is looking at reallocating one of the buses. So the state is also trying to, the EMTF program is trying to secure funding for additional buses for more coverage around the state as well. Of course, the legislature and all that's going on, and that's a tight budget, so we don't know how that's all going to work out yet.
7 of the 9 members of the Cumbie Robotics team joined us for the morning show this morning. They brought their robots and their advisor, Lee Gifford.
My name's Ch.18, and I'm a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
I am Lark Walker, and I'm a senior.
Okay.
I'm Caden Phillips, and I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
I'm Hannah Jarvis, and I'm a senior.
Okay.
I'm Lacey Jacobs, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Hunter Milam, and I'm a junior.
I'm Caden Coda, and I'm a sophomore.
And with us also is...
I'm Lee Gifford, and I'm the teacher.
Okay. Well, so was it kind of, you had to kind of come down off of this high experience that you had in Louisville, Kentucky? And I'm going to ask anybody if they'd like to tell me how you felt when you got back home to, I guess you'd say, the real world. Anybody on that?
I think we were all, well, we're still very excited. And yes, it was, when we came back, everyone was very excited to see us. And
have they all wanted to congratulate you, shake your hand, and ask you what it was like?
Everyone.
Okay.
Whenever we got home, it was kind of a relief, but it was kind of like, man, it's over.
Yeah.
I wish we could still be there.
It's over for another year, but many of you are going back, and we're going to talk about that too. Thank you, Hannah and Lacey, for your comments so far, and I want to hear from each one of you this morning. So let me just start with Ken Chapin, and you tell me what you did at with the team at World.
I didn't go to Worlds because I wasn't feeling good that week right before we went. So
okay.
I heard a lot about all the fun they had when they got back. So.
Well, what was your function with the teams?
With the teams, for my team, really, I drove our A-team robot, and I built not all of the robot, but I built some of the robot, and I did some programming for the robot. And that's
it. Well, I know that each one of you makes more contribution than probably we saw on the video at World, but so far that's all we've had to go by. So it's good to get all your, the different functions that you do. And Lark, I saw you at World as a driver.
Yes, I am the main driver for 6834Z.
Okay. Caden?
Yes, ma'am. I wasn't present at Worlds, but I was the drive coach for Team 6834A, so I helped out Ken when he was driving and told him what to do and things like that.
Okay, all right. And Hannah?
I'm a drive coach, and I do the same thing that Caden does. I help Lark, because he can but he watches his robot during the matches, so I watch all the robots, and I tell him what all the robots are doing and try to help him as much as I can with strategy.
Okay, great. Lacey?
I just kind of do whatever they need me to kind of if they need batteries, I go get batteries. If they need a screw, rubber bands, zip ties, whatever, I go get it, and I just help them in whatever way they need.
Hunter?
I'm primarily the A-team programmer, but I went around because I felt like I could help them with various things, like watching the robot if they had to go do some stuff.
Okay, good. And Caden.
I'm a builder for the A-team, and at Worlds, I did whatever they told me to do.
Okay.
And if they need some, I went and got it.
Okay. There always has to be that part of support. So, I want to ask, since some of you said A-team and there's a Z-team, but now we're kind of talking as if we're all one team. Is that right, Lee?
Yes, they work together, help each other on lots of various things. It's just, we don't like to compete against each other. We do what we can to help each other and just work together. They're a good matchup.
Okay. I'm going to give Lorik just a little bit of time to tell about driving. I see you're looking at the controls. There's action going on in the arena on the two sides of the arena.
So as far as, you want to know, as far as driving?
Sure.
Okay, so this right here is how we close the 6 up button, and then the 6 down button is how we would release the claw. The 5 up button goes up on the lift, and the 5 down button brings the lift down. This goes, when you go up on the joystick, it goes forward, back, left, right, and you can do combinations of the joysticks at the same time, and it will take in the programming, and it will adjust all the different motor values, and so you can take and do swinging, U-turns, and all the different types of stuff. So if you see drivers when they're taking and doing the controls at different angles, that's what they're doing, is adjusting the drive motors to go at different speeds to have different types of turning.
Okay. And I hope we can see a demonstration of this on this morning's interview in just a little bit from maybe the TV studio. And so let me ask Ken. So primarily these robots pick up something and put it somewhere else.
Yes, they pick up stars and cubes, and our robots my robot usually picks up an average of 3 stars or a star and a cube, and then chunks it over into there's a far zone and a near zone on the other half of the court or field, whatever you want to call it. And then, so the near zone the points are less for each object that's there, and the far zone doubles the object actually is. For example, the star would be 1 star in the near zone and 2 in the far zone.
So it's a little bit like tennis, maybe? Okay. So it's a square, looks almost like a boxing ring, but it has the fence down the middle, and so the object is what is the object?
To get as much objects on the other side as possible without many on your side.
Okay. I saw a robot pick up 2 stars at once. They were sort of clustered together. Have they done more than that?
Oh, yes. Some robots got up to 7 or 8 maybe.
The max capacity on his claw was 6, and then mine had a fork in the bottom of it to make stuff to where it wouldn't fall out. And so a few times I actually ended up getting 7 stars in practice.
Wow.
There was a robot at Worlds where they just collected everything so they could hold all the stars, and then at the very end they just boom all over the fence.
Is that legal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
It's called a hoarder bot.
the 8,000 horde bot catapult. So
But sometimes it did not work. But the design is very cool.
Sometimes they forgot to pump their pneumatics, which is basically they had almost like a grenade pin release. And so one match I watched them, and they forgot to pump he forgot to pump his pneumatics, and they go up to 100 psi. Well, it was running on 30 psi, so you hear him in the match. He's got basically all the stuff he's about to throw over, and all you hear is this the pneumatic piston just sitting there popping, trying to open, but it doesn't have the force to open. And so it tries to open, and it just sits there, and he's got about 17 stars and a couple of cubes on his robot, and he couldn't do anything.
Well, you learn a lot from watching and there were 1,400 students, is that right? A lot of teams,
There was 500
There's 564 high school teams.
Yeah, that's just high school.
And they had, usually on average, I'd say a team has somewhere between 3 and 5 students per team.
So what are we thinking about Well, of course, Lee, we're going next year. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's positive thinking, but we're going to have robotics class next year.
Yes, we are. Yes. The returning students are all signed up to do it again. So.
Okay. Now, what will the changes be in the design, maybe of the robots that you might want to build for next year?
There's a different game every year, and this game coming up, you just stack some cones on top of piles and different areas. They're worth more, and the higher the stack is, the more points it costs. It's very weird.
So the game that they're going to have as the competition kind of dictates what your design needs to go for.
A good designs to look at are from Skyrise. Basically, there was the robots in Skyrise. They went and they raised up to about 6 to 7 feet tall. Those type of designs are going to be what you're going to see is going to be very prominent towards the end of the season, more than likely, in the upcoming game. When people get competitive and they're trying to go for the highest stacks.
Well, we have 2 students here named Caden, and I want each of you to comment on the robots we have now. You brought 2 in here, and they are fairly large.
Yes, ma'am. There was a limit, 18 inches by 18 inches on the robot base. That's as high as you could go. But our robot we had 2 different designs. We had a catapult at the beginning of the season, it was very slow, and it was not good compared to a lot of other robots. But then we changed to a claw design, which basically opens a claw and then closes it and tosses it over a fence, and that worked really good. We had a 4-motor lift and 2-motor claw, which was really fast compared to the other robots. And we had a 6-motor drive, which made it really fast, so we could get around the field really quick and toss stuff over really quick. If we were teamed up, both of our teams, A and Z teamed up, we could clear the field within 20 seconds, get everything on the other side. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Caden Phillips and Caden Coda. Tell us about the robots you now have.
Well, like Caden said earlier, we do have a very fast lift, and I believe I know it's because of the amount of rubber bands we have on there, and I'm getting dumbfounded.
Well, you don't have to tell us technically because we couldn't understand it anyway. It's pretty awesome and amazing just to see these robots operate, which we will hopefully in just a little bit here and share that with everyone. And then to be able to analyze your work and decide how you're going to make it better for next year. I think it's pretty awesome.
Well, to get back to the 4-motor lift, a lot of teams were like, how is your lift not stalling, and which is whenever your motors give up and just let your robot sit there and won't move because they have too much pressure on them. Well, a lot of teams, I'd guess, with this high-speed lift would probably have too much friction in their lift, which would cause the motors to have more pressure to move. So our lift, when we built we made sure they have no friction at all. They were free-flowing and everything. So whenever we did have 6 stars and stuff like that, in case of emergencies, our robot wouldn't stall under pressure.
It seems like at the very last moments, maybe at the end of the competition, one robot just kind of got stuck or something. This was at the very last moments of the oral competition.
A lot of them. So our robot ended up being around 17 pounds to 17 or 18 pounds, which was on a very, very heavy side for the average robot in this game. Towards the end of the season, what people were trying to do was run 4-motor high-speed drives and then 6-motor high-speed lifts. And what ended up happening with that is they were running the largest wheels. They were running 4-inch wheels. Well, there's not a lot of torque for your wheels there. They're going to stall very easily, so they have to make the robots as light as possible. And what ended up happening when they had these really light robots and they were going against front dumpers, which we threw the stuff backwards, and the other people, they'd grab it, lift up, drive forward, and drop.
I saw the difference on
Whenever the front dumpers were either going to score or play defense, the really light robots that weighed around 10 pounds, they made them really thin. And so they could just come and they would just knock them over sideways, unintentionally.
I know that you would have won second, but you tied, and then there was a tiebreaker, and you got third place. And Lee, tell us about that, and we're almost out of time.
Okay, the divisions, there were 6 divisions, and you had round robin playoffs, and we tied, I think there was a 3-way tie for second, and it came down to who beat who on a head-to-head matchup, and we lost to the team that got second place in our match against them, so that put us in third.
Okay. And I know you would like to probably mention some sponsors.
I would love to.
We have 30 seconds.
Okay, we have Alliance Bank, City National Bank, Guarantee Bank, Nissan, Greenville Nissan, Cumbie-Tel, our school, yay, Cumbie, AK Gillis, Jordan's Pediatrics, B. Baffle, J. Hodge Chevrolet, Aunt Susie, JSK, the Bookworm Box, Bonham Chrysler, and Copia Coffee Roasters. We say thanks for helping us get there.
Thank you to the Cumbie Trojans team and Lee for bringing the folks in this morning.
Paris Junior College will host 3 town hall meetings next week, one in Paris, one in Greenville, one in Sulphur Springs. The town hall meetings will be held at each location so that students, faculty, and staff may have input for PJC's campus carry policy that will be developed by the Campus Carry Committee. The final draft of the campus carry rules will be presented to the Paris Junior College Board of Regents for approval. State law passed in 2015 by the Texas legislature requires all community colleges to develop a policy allowing for reasonable restrictions on locations where guns may be carried on college campuses. The local town hall will be conducted Monday, May 1st, Paris Junior College Sulphur Springs Center, beginning at 12:30 p.m. in room 114. Here's Don Julian with sports.
The Lady Cats softball team opens their best 2 out of 3 by-district series at Lovejoy in Lucas Thursday at 7 p.m. The Lady Cats will be playing with heavy hearts after the murder of the mother of Lady Cats pitcher Bailey Haggerty on Monday in Dallas. We'll have a complete report on Game 1 on Friday's Channel 18 TV News. Game 2 in the series is Friday at Lady Cat Park at 7:30 p.m. with Game 3, if necessary, at Royce City Saturday at noon. The Wildcats golf team is in 10th place after the rain-delayed first round of the regional golf tournament Wednesday at Rockwall Golf and Athletic Club. There are 15 teams participating. Alex Moats led the Wildcats Wednesday with an 11 over par 83. He's tied for 22nd place in the tournament. Carter Lewis shot 84. Andrew Escobar had 87. Caleb Lewis came in at 89. Matt Calhoun shot 93. The Wildcats shot a team total of 343. Round 2 got started Thursday morning, and all the Wildcats were scheduled to get underway between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. Thursday. The Wildcats football team completed their 3rd practice of the spring Wednesday after school. Before they even got started on Monday morning, I talked with Wildcats offensive coordinator Matt Young about the things that he wants to see accomplished by the end of spring drills. He said first and foremost he wants to see players be physical and see how physical they can be. Next, Coach Young wants to see the passing game develop with quarterbacks and receivers gaining confidence in throwing and catching. Starting quarterback Ryan Humphreys is expected to miss some or perhaps all of spring practices due to his participation on the playoff-bound Wildcats baseball team. JV quarterback DeCorian Young and some other young quarterbacks are getting to show what they can do. Coach Young said he has several running backs returning from last year's team like Cern Rogers, Colton Allen, Lawrence Worth, and Kason Goodson. Cortavius Pruitt, a receiver last year, has also been getting running back reps during spring ball. Wide receivers returning include the leading receiver, Simeon Taylor, as well as Landry Tyson, Austin Dodd, and others. Blocking backs returning include Logan Ch.18 and Calvin Eckert. Eckert is also getting some reps on defense. Spring ball is always important, I should say, for the offensive linemen, and Coach Young says returnees include Ethan Rogers, Jesus Olivo, Ian Blanche, and massive 300-pounder Norris English. From the JV, a couple of linemen, Charlie Maddox and Hayden Daniels, plus some more young fellows. Coach Young said the beauty of spring football is that everyone gets reps and lots of them compared to the fall. Like a talent scout, Coach Young is always watching players, and his conclusions will determine which players are Friday night starters or Friday depth, or Thursday night starters or Thursday depth. The Wildcats will have a total of 14 spring workouts, and spring football will be wrapping up with a spring game on May 19th at the Sulphur Springs High School track field.
Thanks for watching Channel 18 News. Have a great evening.
Just once we get them bundled up, go. And we don't fully dislodge anything, things like that. We have a second here, and it's our in and out the folks. They come up here. What department y'all work in? I see.